300 inmates stop mid-conversation, stop lifting weights, stop playing cards. All eyes turn to the center of the yard where Marcus "Tank" Briggs stands over a kneeling man. Tank is 64, 280 pounds of muscle and malice, tattooed teardrops under his left eye, leader of the Aryan Brotherhood cell that runs D Block. He's holding a food tray above his head, mashed potatoes, gravy, mystery meat, all of it about to rain down on the black man kneeling in the dirt. The man's name is Darius Cole. He's 42 years old, average height, lean build, wire-frame glasses that make him look more like a librarian than an inmate. He's been here 3 weeks, keeps to himself, reads books, never talks back. Right now his head is down, hands in his lap, completely still. "Look at this educated Tank sneers, making sure everyone can hear. "Got his college degree and still ended up in my house. You know what we do to people like you in here, Professor?" The crowd is watching, some laugh nervously, others look away. The guards, they're standing at the perimeter, arms crossed, doing absolutely nothing. Tank tips the tray. Food cascades down onto Darius's head. Gravy soaks into his stay-tissued orange, mashed potatoes slide down his face. The yard erupts in cruel laughter. Darius doesn't flinch, doesn't wipe his face, doesn't look up. He just sits there, breathing slowly, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Tank crouches down, getting close to Darius's ear. "You gonna cry, Professor? You gonna run tell the co's, or you gonna take it like the bee you are?" Darius's jaw tightens, just slightly. For half a second, something flickers behind those glasses, something ancient and dangerous, but then it's gone. "That's what I thought," Tank says, standing back up. He kicks dirt onto Darius for good measure, then walks away laughing with his crew. The yard slowly returns to normal. Conversations resume, weights clang, cards shuffle. But a few inmates keep watching Darius as he slowly stands, wipes the food from his face with his sleeve, and walks back toward his cell block. One old-timer, a lifer named Jerome, leans over to his cellmate and whispers, "That man moved wrong." "What?" When he stood up, his balance, his posture, that ain't no regular dude. His cellmate laughs, "Man, he just got punked in front of the whole yard, he's a victim." Jerome shakes his head slowly. "Nah, I seen that look before, that's the look of a man who's choosing not to break you." If only Tank knew who he was humiliating. If you think this is shocking already, wait until you hear the twist. Hit subscribe now so you don't miss it. Blackwater Correctional houses 2,847 inmates. It has the highest violence rate in the state, 347 reported assaults last year alone, but that's just what gets reported. The real number, probably triple that. The prison is controlled by 3 major gangs: the Aryan Brotherhood, the Mexican Mafia, and the Black Guerrilla family. They run everything: the drug trade, the protection rackets, who eats and who starves. Tank Briggs runs the OB with an iron fist. He's serving life without parole for a double homicide. He's got nothing to lose and everything to prove. Every week he picks someone new to dominate. It's how he maintains power. It's how he reminds everyone that he's untouchable. And the guards, most of them are either corrupt or terrified. Captain Hayes, the head of D Block security, has been on Tank's payroll for 3 years. Phones, drugs, protection. Tank gets whatever he wants as long as Hayes gets his cut. In Blackwater, there is no justice, there is no redemption, there's only survival. And for Darius Cole, who arrived 3 weeks ago with no gang affiliation, no protection, no allies, he's a ghost, a target, a dead man walking. At least that's what everyone thinks. What nobody knows, what nobody could possibly know, is that Darius the Reaper Cole was once the most feared middleweight fighter in MMA history. From 2005 to 2011, he held a 37-2 record. He was the IFC middleweight champion for 4 consecutive years. He had 29 knockouts, 6 submissions, 2 decisions. Fighters refused to face him. Commentators called him supernatural. His signature move, a counterpunch combination so fast it looked like one strike, was nicknamed the Reaper's Toll. He was on the verge of signing with the UFC, the biggest contract in the sport's history. His face was on billboards, his name was legendary. And then one night in 2011, everything fell apart. Darius was driving home from training. His wife, Alicia, and his 7-year-old daughter, Mia, were in the car with him. They were laughing, singing along to the radio, happy. A drunk driver ran a red light at 80 miles per hour. The impact killed them both instantly. Darius survived. For 2 years, he disappeared. No interviews, no fights, no public appearances. He drank himself into oblivion. He blamed himself if he'd taken a different route, if he'd left 5 minutes later, if he'd just been faster. Then one night in a bar in Detroit, a man made a comment about Alicia, a disrespectful, vile comment. Darius broke his jaw in 3 places, shattered his orbital bone, put him in a coma for 6 days. When the police arrived, Darius didn't resist. He didn't speak. He just sat there staring at his hands covered in blood. The judge gave him 8 years for aggravated assault. And so Darius Cole, the Reaper, vanished into the prison system. No fanfare, no headlines, just another inmate, another number. But the skills, the training, the instincts honed over 15 years of fighting the most dangerous men on Earth. Those don't just disappear. Darius is in line for lunch. Tank walks past, accidentally shoulder checks him so hard that Darius's tray goes flying, food splashes across the floor. The cafeteria erupts in laughter. Darius bends down, picks up his tray and gets back in line, says nothing. But Jerome, sitting at a nearby table, notices something. When Darius bent down, his movement was perfect, balanced, controlled like a coiled spring. Tank and 2 of his guys corner Darius in the showers. They don't touch him, not yet, but they crowd him, threaten him, call him every slur in the book. Darius stands there, water running down his face, eyes closed, breathing. Tank gets inches from his face. Say something, Professor, defend yourself. Darius opens his eyes. For just a moment, Tank sees something in them that makes his stomach drop, something cold, something lethal. But then Darius looks away. I don't want any trouble. Tank laughs, but it sounds forced. Yeah, that's what I thought. As they leave, one of Tank's guys, a younger inmate named Ricky, whispers, "Did you see the way he stood? His feet were perfect, man, like a fighter's stance." Yeah. Tank smacks him in the back of the head. Shut up, he's a coward. But Tank noticed it too. Tank decides to escalate. He spreads a rumor that Darius snitched on someone in the Mexican mafia. It's a lie, but in prison, lies are as deadly as knives. 2 members confront Darius during rec time. They shove him. He stumbles but doesn't fall. They shove him again, harder. This time, Darius's feet shift just slightly into a perfect orthodox stance. His weight distributes flawlessly. His hands come up not in fists but in a guard position so subtle most people wouldn't notice. One of the guys throws a wild haymaker. Darius moves his head 2 inches to the left. The punch misses by a hair. The precision is unsettling. It wasn't a panicked dodge, it was calculated, effortless. The guys pause, confused, then they laugh it off and walk away. But Jerome, watching from across the yard, turns to his cellmate. I told you, that man's not normal. Tank is getting frustrated. Darius won't fight back, won't talk back, won't give him the satisfaction. So during dinner, Tank walks up behind Darius and dumps an entire pitcher of juice over his head. The cafeteria goes quiet. Darius stands up slowly, juice drips from his hair, his glasses are soaked. For the first time, he turns and looks directly at Tank. The room holds its breath. Tank grins, what you gonna do, Professor? Darius takes off his glasses, wipes them clean with his shirt, puts them back on. Then he picks up his tray and walks to the dish drop-off. The room exhales, laughter erupts. But Tank isn't laughing, because when Darius turned around, Tank saw his eyes. And for the first time in 10 years, Tank felt something he thought he'd forgotten. Fear. It happens in the yard during a pickup basketball game. Tank and his crew are playing against a group of black inmates. It's getting heated, fouls are hard, trash talk is vicious. Darius is sitting on a bench nearby, reading a book. Then someone throws an elbow, a fight breaks out, fists fly, guards start running over. In the chaos, a basketball goes flying toward Darius's head at full speed. Without looking up from his book, Darius's left hand snaps out and catches the ball mid-flight. Perfect timing, perfect placement. His hand didn't even move more than 6 inches. The yard freezes. Everyone saw it. Jerome starts laughing, "Oh man, oh man." Tank stares at Darius, who calmly sets the ball down and goes back to reading. Ricky leans over to Tank, "Yo, what the hell was that?" Tank doesn't answer, but his jaw is clenched tight. If this part has you on edge, hit the like button right now. It lets us know you want more stories like this. Word spreads fast. By the next morning, everyone in D Block knows something's off about Darius Cole. Tank can feel his authority slipping. Inmates are whispering, laughing, questioning him. So he makes a decision. Friday night, Tank announces in the cafeteria, "The Pit." The Pit is an old maintenance basement beneath the prison. The guards know about it. Captain Hayes makes sure they look the other way. It's where inmates settle scores, full contact, no rules, no mercy. 200 inmates cram into the pit that Friday night. The air is thick with sweat, smoke, and bloodlust. Tank stands in the center, shirtless, fists taped. He looks like a gladiator. Darius is brought in by 2 of Tank's guys. He's still wearing his glasses. The crowd roars. Tank points at him, "Tonight, Professor, you learn respect. You step into this circle and you don't leave until I say you can." Darius looks around the room, 200 faces, all of them waiting to see him destroyed. He takes off his glasses, folds them carefully, hands them to Jerome, who's standing near the edge. "Hold these," Darius says quietly. Jerome nods, "You got this, old man." Darius steps into the circle. Tank charges. And that's when the entire room sees something impossible. Darius shifts his weight, drops his hips, raises his hands. And for the first time in 14 years, the Reaper assumes his fighting stance. The crowd gasps. Tank freezes mid-charge, his eyes go wide. Because he finally recognizes that stance. He's seen it before on TV, on fight highlight reels. Tank's face drains of color. "Wait. You're the Reaper." The pit explodes. Inmates surge forward, shouting, pointing, pulling out contraband phones. Flashlights illuminate the circle from a dozen angles. Everyone wants proof. Everyone wants to see it. "No way. That's Darius Cole. Holy SH. The Reapers in Blackwater. Tank backs up 3 steps, hands dropping slightly. His whole body language shifts from predator to prey in seconds. Darius doesn't move, just stands there in that iconic stance, left foot forward, hands up, chin tucked, eyes locked, the same stance that made him a legend, the same stance that ended 29 fighters' nights early. "You know who I am," Darius says quietly, his voice cuts through the noise like a blade. "Then you know what happens next." Tank tries to recover. He's been the alpha too long to back down in front of 200 men. He rolls his shoulders, cracks his neck, forces a grin. "I don't care who you were, old man, you're in my house now." Darius moves. Not fast, not wild. Surgical. He closes the distance in 2 steps, perfect footwork, weight shifting like water, and throws a jab that Tank never sees coming. The sound of knuckles connecting with jawbone echoes through the concrete basement like a gunshot. Tank's head snaps sideways, spit and blood spray across the first row of spectators. But Darius isn't done. Left hook to the body, Tank's ribs crack audibly. Right uppercut, Tank's mouthguard flies out. Leg kick, Tank's knee buckles. It takes 4 seconds. 4 seconds. Tank crumples to the ground, gasping, clutching his ribs. The pit is silent. Then someone screams, "WRLDSTAR." Phones are everywhere now, 20, 30, 40 inmates recording from every angle. The basement lights up like a concert. Darius looks down at Tank, who's curled up on the ground, wheezing. "Stay down," Darius says, not a threat, a mercy. Tank nods, blood pouring from his mouth. Jerome starts slow clapping, then someone else joins, then another. Within seconds, the entire pit is thundering with applause, hoots, and shouts. Darius picks up his glasses from Jerome, puts them back on, walks out of the circle. The crowd parts like the Red Sea. By midnight, the videos are everywhere. Prison Reaper is trending worldwide with 4.3 million posts. Darius Cole hits #1 in the United States, Canada, and the UK. TMZ posts a clip with the headline, MMA legend Darius the Reaper Cole Destroys prison bully in underground fight. ESPN runs an emergency segment at 1 a.m. The anchor, a former fighter himself, looks stunned. I thought Darius Cole was dead or retired or I don't even know, but that footage, that's him. That's the same precision, the same footwork, the same violence we saw in his prime. He just dismantled a 280-pound man in 4 seconds. On Twitter, former opponents chime in. At Titan MMA Jake, I fought the Reaper in 2009, took me 3 months to recover. That man is not human, whoever that bully was, he's lucky to be alive. At Champ Carlos IFC, Darius Cole is the reason I retired early. Watching that prison video brought back nightmares, respect to the legend, folded hands. Reddit explodes. Our MMA crashes twice from traffic. Threads with titles like The Reaper Returns and Prison Fight Breakdown. Darius Cole's technique get 80,000 upvotes in an hour. Even Joe Rogan records an emergency podcast episode. Guys, I don't even know where to start. Darius Cole was pound for pound one of the scariest fighters I've ever seen, and he just proved 14 years later that he's still that guy. By morning, the story is on CNN, BBC, Fox News, and Al Jazeera. But the system doesn't like heroes. Especially not heroes in prison. By Monday morning, the narrative shifts. District Attorney Margaret Thornton holds a press conference outside Blackwater Correctional. She's been eyeing a Senate run. She needs a scandal she can control. What we witnessed this weekend, she says into a forest of microphones, was not justice. It was not heroism. It was a convicted felon engaging in illegal underground fighting. Darius Cole is serving time for a violent assault. This video proves he remains a danger to society. Behind her, photos of Tank's injuries are displayed on a screen: fractured ribs, broken jaw, concussion. Mr. Cole will face additional charges of assault, participation in illegal gambling, and inciting a riot. We are also investigating the guards who allowed this to happen. The media eats it up. Op-eds flood newspapers. The dangerous myth of the noble prisoner, The Washington Post. Darius Cole, hero or menace, USA Today. Why we shouldn't celebrate prison violence, The Atlantic. Talking heads on cable news debate endlessly, half defend him, half vilify him. Meanwhile, Thornton's team discovers new evidence, edited security footage that makes it look like Darius started the fight. Anonymous witness statements claiming he's been running a fighting ring for weeks, planted contraband in his cell. It's a setup, a complete fabrication, but it's effective. Public opinion starts to turn. By Wednesday, Darius is transferred to solitary confinement, pending investigation. The hero is being erased, again. What nobody knows, not the DA, not the media, not even the inmates, is that Darius didn't end up in Blackwater by accident. 2 weeks before his arrest in that Detroit bar, Darius was approached by Agent Rachel Monroe of the FBI. She showed him photos, evidence, testimony. Blackwater Correctional wasn't just a prison. It was a hub for the largest prison trafficking operation in the country. Drugs, weapons, even human smuggling, all of it flowing through corrupt guards and gang networks. At the center of it all, Captain Hayes and Tank Briggs. Together, they ran a $30 million annual operation with connections to cartels in Mexico and crime syndicates in 3 states. The FBI had been trying to infiltrate for years. Every undercover agent got made within weeks. Every informant ended up dead. We need someone they won't suspect, Monroe told him. Someone who can endure, someone who can survive long enough to get us evidence. Darius looked at the photos, saw the faces of the victims, young men, barely 20, who'd been trafficked, exploited, killed. He saw Mia's face in every one of them. What do you need me to do? He asked. They staged the bar fight, made sure the arrest was public, made sure the sentence landed him in Blackwater. For 3 weeks, Darius endured humiliation, violence, and degradation, all while wearing a recording device embedded in his glasses. Every conversation with Tank, every transaction, every corrupt guard, every cartel contact. All of it recorded. The fight in the pit, that wasn't a loss of control. That was the final piece of evidence, proof of the underground fighting ring, proof of Captain Hayes allowing it, proof of the system's corruption. And when those videos went viral, when the world's eyes turned to Blackwater, the FBI moved in. Friday morning 6 a.m. 50 FBI agents raid Blackwater Correctional. Captain Hayes is arrested in his office shredding documents. Tank Briggs and 14 OB members are pulled from their cells in handcuffs. Corrupt guards are led out in shame as news helicopters circle overhead. The evidence is overwhelming. The recordings Darius captured are played in federal court. Tank discussing drug shipments. Hayes negotiating bribes. Cartel contacts arranging trafficking routes. Within 48 hours. 23 arrests at Blackwater. 7 arrests in the State Corrections Department. 4 arrests of cartel operatives in Arizona and Texas. $18 million seized in drug money and assets. The story dominates headlines for 2 weeks straight. FBI busts massive prison trafficking ring using undercover MMA legend, CNN. Darius the Reaper Cole from fighter to federal hero, ESPN. How one man took down a $30 million prison crime empire, 60 Minutes. DA Margaret Thornton's career implodes when it's revealed her office ignored FBI warnings about Blackwater for years. She resigns in disgrace. Congress launches an investigation into corruption in the federal prison system. 12 prisons are flagged for reform. Tank Briggs gets an additional 25 years on top of his life sentence. Captain Hayes gets 40 years with no parole. And Darius. All charges dropped, sentence commuted, released after 14 years. He walks out of Blackwater on a Tuesday morning to a crowd of reporters, cameras, and fans holding signs. The Reaper SAVES lives. Hero in orange. Justice for Darius. 6 months later. A small gym in Detroit, Second Chance MMA. The sign above the door reads, "Everyone deserves a second round." Inside, 24 kids ages 8 to 17 are training, hitting bags, drilling takedowns, learning discipline. Darius walks between them, adjusting stances, correcting technique, offering quiet encouragement. "Keep your chin tucked, Marcus. Good, Sophia, that's it. Breathe, Jamal, control the breath, control the fight." These kids are from the system, foster care, juvie, the streets, the same places that tried to swallow Darius whole. He's giving them what he lost: purpose, control, a reason to fight for something other than survival. In the corner, Jerome, released early for good behavior, is assistant coaching. He grins at Darius. "You got him working, Reaper." Darius smiles. "They're not fighting for me, they're fighting for themselves." After class, Darius sits alone in his office. On the wall, there are 3 photos. One of Alicia and Mia. One of his championship belt. And one new of the kids from his gym, all smiling, all wearing Second Chance MMA shirts. He stares at the first photo for a long time. "I couldn't save you," he whispers, "but I can save them." A knock at the door. Agent Monroe steps in. "Thought you might want this," she says, handing him an envelope. Inside, a handwritten letter from one of the trafficking victims they rescued, a young man named David, 22 years old. "Mr. Cole, I don't know if you'll ever read this, but I needed to say thank you. Because of you, I'm alive. Because of you, I'm free. You didn't have to suffer for us, but you did, and I promise I won't waste the life you gave me." Darius reads it twice, then folds it carefully and tucks it into his pocket. Monroe smiles. "You did good, Reaper." He shakes his head. "I just did what I had to." "No," she says, "you did what most people couldn't. You endured hell so others wouldn't have to." She leaves. Darius sits in the quiet for a moment, then he stands, walks out to the gym floor and flips the lights off. As he locks the door behind him, he hears laughter from down the street, his students, heading home together, safe, hopeful. He takes a deep breath. For the first time in 14 years, it doesn't hurt. The Reaper didn't just survive prison, he dismantled it. He didn't just fight a bully. He toppled an empire, and when the world tried to bury him, he rose not with violence but with purpose. Because legends don't die, they evolve.